discussion. Can't you see them dad boys are casting? Testing competition on their podcast mission. Never know what you get. It's chaotic precision. If you don't know, you better find out. The Dad Pack are here to prove a point. We three kings just believe that you don't want to tussle with them. This show is thunder. Subscribe and tune in, and you're laughing to the very end. Don't turn your back on the Dad Pack. Don't turn your back on the Dad Pack.
Put the kids to bed. Dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the dad world order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. And with me, as always, the rest of this patriarch pack. We got the big bad bearded daddy. He is Big Rig Eric Maffey.
Honk if you hear me. Let's go.
And he is the perpetual mid-carder and the two-time world record holder. He is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Bo Cephas.
Cowabunga indeed. It is day 1124 of consecutively wearing a pro wrestling t-shirt. What's up, y'all? Razor Ramon today.
Love that, dude. Love that. What do you got on over there, Mikey? Is that the Heartbreak Kid?
Yeah, it's my homage sweatshirt. It's so comfy. I wear it a lot, but you know.
Oh, nice. It's great hoodie. I actually got our boy the veteran, Mr. Jack Vaughn, Thigh Slap, who is a co-worker of our guest tonight. Very, very excited to have this guy on. As Mr. Magnificent said, we are the DWO podcast, and we have on with us tonight Shotgun Tony Gunn. Sir, how the heck are you?
Guys, I am doing amazing, and I just want to raise my glass to you guys because that was one hell of an intro, and what a video package. That was amazing. Salute.
You know what? We've been getting a lot of compliments on that lately, and that makes us. It's nice to hear that feedback. You know, we've grown a lot since we started this thing, and it's always nice to hear. So we appreciate that.
Hey, and if you like the theme song, it's actually just been released to audio platforms by our good friend here, band Toy Box.
Go look up Toy Box. Yeah, that's this guy singing in that song.
Boy.
Yeah, good voice, sexy voice.
So
very nice.
Cool.
I already liked you, but damn. So
there you go. But
before we get too in the conversation, I want to read off a couple stats real quick. You are a 3-time OVW Tag Team Champion, a 3-time OVW TV Champion, and a 2-time Heavyweight Champion on top of that. And you've won the Nightmare Rumble. So you are definitely OVW alumni. We'll put it that way. You've definitely done quite a lot in the OVW world. Is it still as fun for you as it was when you first started, man?
Yeah, it is, to answer your question, short base, but long base is that, I've been wrestling 21 years off and on with injuries and stuff like that, whatever, life. But if I wasn't having fun doing this and making money in the process, I wouldn't be doing it, so I still enjoy every single second of it. So yeah, it's a blast.
Hell yeah.
And then being home, and I consider OVW my home. I've been there since 2011, off and on.
Wow.
So that's pretty much my stomping ground now. It's pretty much my home. So
you've known Al quite a while then.
Yeah. I've known him most of my wrestling career, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that something that you knew him before OVW, or did you not meet him until you got into OVW?
No, I didn't meet him until I moved. I'm from Arkansas, so I'm from the northeast area of Arkansas, and I moved to Louisville back in 2009 to train with OVW. But at that time, as soon as I moved here, they were developmental territory at the time with WWE. And a month after I moved here, WWE pulled out and sent everybody to Florida, So, and I was kind of up a creek without a paddle.
Well, fuck.
Fuck, right? Fuck, because actually Rip Rogers invited me up and all that. And then I sold my motorcycle, packed everything up, and moved to Louisville. And then a month later, they they sent everybody to Florida for FCW, and I didn't want to pay money. I mean, OVW was still open, but I didn't want to pay money to train because I didn't know if they were going to fold and close their doors after WWE pulled out. So, yeah.
Luckily, they didn't, But
so I've actually never heard that full trade. What was that transition like? Like, did Al take it over immediately, or was there an in between? Or
there were some tough spots, which I didn't start there until 2011, and that's a little bit right before Al stepped back on board because. I quit wrestling for like a couple of years after I moved to Louisville because I was just kind of discouraged and depressed about stuff because WWE pulled out and all that, and like I sold everything I had to get here, But when I got into it, like I think there was a few got like Adam Revolver, and there was a couple other guys that were doing all the booking and running the day to day. Danny Davis still owned it, operated it, but he was just more or less just behind the scenes, and like Adam and a few other guys were actually doing the booking and taking care of that side of it all until Al came in, and like I think it was like late 2011, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we owe Al a lot, man. Al was I think Al was probably the first person that was of merit in the wrestling world besides indie guys that gave us a shot. When he agreed to do our show, we were just kind of like, oh, I mean, we owe a lot to Brittany for helping us out. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had almost a year in, and she said something to Eric like, "Why don't you have my dad on?" We're like, "Well, who's your fucking dad?"
I had no idea. We knew Brittany from another promotion that we went to. She worked the door there and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And we were just friendly with her. And I was talking to her. She was like, "Why don't you have my dad on?" And I was like, "Well, who's your dad?" And I go look at her like Instagram. And there's like a Father's Day post, and it's her Al Snow, and I'm like, "Oh, okay,
sure,
yes, we would love that."
Like, Brittany's a cool person.
Yeah,
he was really sweet to us, man. He invited us down to OVW for a show, and he sat us next to his mother, and I mean, it felt so cool, man. That like security or whatever came out, and they were like, "Oh, you're Al's friends. This way, please."
Yeah.
When did you guys come down?
It was the Valentine's Day event.
Yeah.
Tough Love, I think it was.
Oh, Tough Love.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, which it's a bit of a drive for us. It was literally like 2.5 hours for me. You know what I mean? So it's not like something we can go to like some of our closer shows. So to get there, and then when we got to the door, we were like, "Oh, there's supposed to be tickets on hold for us," and he's like, "Oh, you're Al's friends," and that was just a moment of, "Sure, we are. Yeah, we are. We're just some fucking marks, but yeah, we are."
Whatever. Yeah, we're in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit of a drive for us, but I mean we drive to Dayton every other month.
It's about the same as like driving to Dayton
for Wrestling Revolver. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but very fun promotion that we're actually sponsors.
He definitely is. It's where I met him.
I was just about to say that's where we ran into him at
the holiday show.
Shows how much I know.
You were there. To him. I was like, "Is that?"
I know I was there. I don't remember.
We were standing off to the side. We were like, "Is that Tony Gunn?" He's like, "I think that's Tony Gunn."
Yeah, I've been to the past couple shows. I was the one in Indiana. I forget what town that was.
Richmond, yeah,
and then Dayton. I went the last one in Dayton or whatnot, and then I think there's one this.
Are you going up to Indy on Friday?
Yeah, I'm headed up Friday.
We'll
getting
there.
Yeah, I'll be there, just hanging out. Been talking with Sammy and all that stuff. We're working some things out as far as
hell yeah, dude.
Try to do something, So
don't you have a Revolver match or two under your belt?
Yeah, back in I think it was 2019, somewhere around there. I worked with them once, and then I tore my tricep and I was out for like a year. So
shit.
So just getting back in the game and all that stuff.
So let's bring it back to the origins here. You said from Arkansas. Was wrestling big in your household growing up?
I mean, yeah, it was more or less in that area. It's basically Memphis wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Because so every Saturday morning, like I remember when I was a little kid, my dad would always turn it on. Memphis wrestling Saturday morning, and that's what I started watching was Memphis wrestling. Lawler, Dundee, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, Tojo, and all those guys. So So yeah, that's where I kind of like got into wrestling. But then, just like any other kid, you kind of like grow up and grow out of it for a bit, and then I didn't get back into it until like every teenager did in the Attitude Era, and that's kind of when I jumped back in the wrestling scene as far as a fan.
Was there a moment that like really like captivated you? We talk about this a lot, like our like core wrestling moments. Like for me, it was Foley getting thrown off the cage by Undertaker. That was my like, holy shit, I love this moment.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't even have to be a moment, just a wrestler that captivated you, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really stands out in mind as far as watching. I mean, because I started watching again 97, 98, and that was in the heat of like, The Rock, Stone Cold, Mick Foley, Undertaker, Triple H, DX, all that stuff. So like there was, so much talent there.
A ton to be captivated by.
Right. It was crazy. So it was just chaos as a teenager watching that. But I do remember like my senior year in high school, like I was like, this is something like I don't, because dial-up was just a thing, just a little bit as far as getting online. There was no social media, so it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that sound. But there was nothing quick to finding stuff out. So I was like, well, how do you get into wrestling? So and then somehow I caught wind that Memphis Wrestling was developmental with WWF at the time. And I was like, what, I think I want to try to get into this. And I remember MCW, which is Memphis Championship Wrestling, they did a showdown show at the Convo Center in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and they brought some WWE guys in to do that show as well. Which I think the main event was Kurt Angle and Triple H back when I think Kurt Angle was the WWF Heavyweight Champion at the time.
Wow.
So they had a title match there, and I remember I sat third or fourth row or whatnot, my very first wrestling event ever, and I just remember watching that whole show. And then when they were out there, I was like just listening to the crowd because they were just going nuts. And I just remember at one point during the match, like I was just sitting there watching them, but I was listening to the crowd. I was like, I want to be the reason why these fans are, making this noise.
Invoke that emotion.
Yeah, invoke that emotion. And from that was the point in time where I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to get into pro wrestling.
Hell yeah. So it wasn't even necessarily something you watched on TV. It was actually being at an event. That's pretty cool.
Just being at an event and witnessing it live and just hearing the fans and just seeing how it all plays out. And I was very taken back by it, and I just wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, we say all the time, there's nothing quite like going to a live pro wrestling event, and not just the big ones, like an indie event, that small, intimate setting. Like, man, the energy in those buildings is something else.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So I gotta say, man, I know cage matches is off a lot of times, but they're generally pretty on point about OVW. And it says that you have had 441 matches with OVW. Does that seem right to you?
Yeah. I mean, if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Right.
I mean, they have Lincoln.
They have dates for everything. Does it feel like you've done almost 450 matches for them?
I mean, I guess because I've been there. I feel like I've been there since the beginning, but I haven't. But I've been there for 13, 14 years. So I guess that math kind of adds up in a way because I've never really taken time off from wrestling except for like surgeries and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I've been there every week, pretty loyal. If I was hurt, I wasn't there. But other than that, I'm there every single week. So yeah, that makes sense. I'm pretty much wrestling, doing a match every week.
Man, that's crazy. That's a lot of reference footage you could give someone. Be like, oh yeah, check out all of these years, this entire decade.
Yeah, some of them you might not want to check out.
Well, but we say the same thing about the first couple episodes of this podcast, man. We did it on an iPad and a original laptop, and we've grown. We've all grown. So
it's an evolution.
Yeah, it always is. Yeah, you always got to keep growing.
So do you have like are you at a point to where you have like your weekly schedule is consistent? I mean, you have certain days you train, you have certain days, you have your regular OVW, maybe certain days you take other bookings, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Thursday is our TV with OVW, so every Thursday, that's set up, and then I usually have a show every Saturday, whether it be with OVW or other independent promotions as well. I don't do a lot of Fridays just because that's kind of difficult to do in the traveling and stuff. But yeah, so I'll go up to Ohio, Indiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, places in Kentucky and stuff like that. And I'll travel wherever. Like I've been going to Canada every couple months with the promotion up there, up in Wisconsin. So I do some travel. I do some traveling with it, and I enjoy it. So yeah, I pretty much have a pretty set schedule as far as what I'm doing with my wrestling and training and all that. And not only do I work out, have my own training and wrestle, I also hold a training class at OVW as well too. So there's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced class. I do the intermediate level class. So all the new students coming in, after they get through beginners, they come to me for intermediate class.
Oh yeah.
So I do that two days a week as well, on top of my full-time job, which is I'm a school teacher. So, pretty much burning the rubber 24/7.
Do your students know that you do this?
Yeah, most of them do. Yeah, they
Okay.
some of them been to some shows. Some of them see my, like I'll do clips online and stuff like that, or OVW does. And
What age group?
I have the fun age group. I have juniors and seniors, man. So,
Oh hell yeah!
Yes.
yeah. And I'm the cool ass PE teacher.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to ask the subject. Yes.
yes, I do advanced phys ed and weightlifting, so it's just right up my alley, and all the kids like it.
Dude,
And
hell yeah.
yeah, so they have fun with it because I play a bad guy and a heel, if you want to call it that, whatever.
Yeah.
But because sometimes you got to talk smack, so they'll see some clips that I did the night before, or the week before, and they're like, "Mr. Gunn, you said this. You're a totally different person." Blah blah blah. So it's fun.
You ever turn it on for them?
I mean, if someone give me some attitudes and stuff like that, I'll get my promo voice going, but yeah, then I'll cut myself off after a few seconds. Like, all right, I can't do that.
This is gonna get into a bad territory. We can't.
I'm such a smart ass. I would have brought signs to your class. Like PE teacher sucks.
Yeah, I haven't had that one yet. That would be hilarious. Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing our boy Seif is known for, it's bringing signs to shows. You'll see on Friday. He will have all the signs.
I'm sure he saw me at the Christmas show. I was going nuts with him too.
Yeah.
I love pissing off AJ Francis, so I'm gonna try to.
He's a fun dude.
Yeah, he's fun. That's what I told him. I was like, man, I want to I want to dislike you, but you're such a good heel that I like disliking you. So it's different.
It's one of those things, and that's what's tough about being a heel, is because a lot of people gravitate towards that, especially if you're really good at it and you're just this douchebag asshole that you kind of start to gravitate to, So there's a fine line, and you gotta find that line to ride to still stay true to being a heel and gaining that heat from the crowd, so to speak, versus becoming a babyface heel. You don't want to do that, because then you're not helping your babyface out and getting over.
Do you? I got to ask you this: do you feel, since you play a heel mostly, do you feel like in the modern era, with majority of wrestling fans being smart marks and understanding how a majority of it works, is it harder to be a heel, because everybody's kind of in on it or anything? Because I say this, my example is MJF, how he was such a fucking good heel. He got so over because he was such a good heel, and then he kind of became a babyface, and now it's kind of hard for him to go back. Is it? Yeah. Do you have to find that line, or how does that work?
Yeah, you do, and it's one of those things that it's tough to do, because as a performer and entertainer, especially in wrestling, you always want to go out there and try to, I'm not going to say upstage, but outdo who you're in the ring with.
Sure.
Right. But you got to be careful and ride that line too, especially as a heel. At least my opinion anyways, is my job as a heel is to get the business over and get the baby face over. Because if I don't get that baby face over, then it's gonna be hard for me to gain any heat. And if I don't get him over, then business isn't done, whether he's going over or not, so that's a fine line that you have to ride. And you got to be cautious of that too, because you can't choke your opponent out, so to speak, from a spotlight standpoint, because once you start gaining all the spotlight and attention from the crowd, then they're going to gravitate towards you. So you got to be careful with that. Even if you are being a douchebag asshole or whatnot, they're going to start gravitating towards you because you're bringing out that character and emotion and whatever. And if that baby face isn't holding up their end of the bargain or whatever, then it's the tide's going to start to turn, so to speak, and then everyone's going to start cheering MJF, like you said, prime example, where he would, and also too, you have to go out there and believe what you're doing, as a heel or as a babyface. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. And I believe, which I don't know MJF, but like, just when he goes out there, you believe what he's saying, you believe what he's feeling, and you believe everything that he's doing, and that's a part of it, is blurring those lines of what is you're going out there to do and the reality of what's real and what's not. So, but he's so good at what he does as he overshadows a lot of his baby faces that's in the ring with him.
Yeah.
Which, it isn't necessarily his fault. Like you said,
no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He's so fucking good at what he does. It's like, you have to put a really good baby face in there with him to even the scales a little bit. Otherwise, they're just going to get overshadowed.
Right. Exactly. And then if you're in the ring with people that are inexperienced and stuff like that, they don't know how to get themselves over in that way, then it's up to that heel to try to help that babyface out and get them over. But also too, you don't want to water yourself down in the process.
Sure.
So it's one of those lines that you have to ride, and you have to know how much you need to take and give,
I also think it depends on what type of heel you are, in a way, because there's you got your chicken shit heel, and then you got your dastardly heel. I feel like that's two different categories, really, because I mean you're applying two different methods when you're that different type of heel, and I feel like sometimes MJF blends those, and I feel like that might be why people cheer him so much. You know what I mean? Because they expect him to do one thing and he does the other. I don't know. You can't seem tough and a chicken shit at the same time. It's weird.
I feel like sometimes it's a dynamic with them, with another wrestler or faction that kind of helps make, really completes that heel character, I feel.
Right.
Like.
Yeah. Well, that's
For
what I
sure.
was saying, but the baby face has to be right that they're working with, because if it's somebody that you're just throwing in there and he's going to outshine them, then the feud's not going to work.
Right.
Thing. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Which, not to talk about MJF the whole time, I was just using him as an example.
Right.
But I'm sure you've had that before. Obviously you've been in the business a while, so I'm sure you've worked with more inexperienced guys, and you're like, okay, shit, I'm going to have to work a little harder to make sure this dynamic's right.
Right. Exactly. And that's one of those things, especially as being a heel or being a performer, is and being professional in that sense, is knowing that, hey, my job is to go out here and get the business over, number one, and to, depending if I'm baby or heel, to get that baby face over, or whatever that story is, right? So you got to know the mission at hand. You got to be able to go out there, and whatever the boss says, you need to go out there and be able to do that, right? So it is hard to do with inexperienced people, but it can be done. But you gotta have that experience as well too, in order to be able to do that. And a lot of that is being young on the flip side of that, and being in the ring with people better than you, and you kind of learn from them. So that way,
well, and you got to be coachable too. I know we've heard a million stories from experienced people in the business that are like, this young guy doesn't want to listen, or thinks he's good already, or whatever. So I'm sure that can get a little frustrating too, when you're trying to work a dynamic, and it's like, man, just shut up and fucking listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Not, didn't mean to cut you off, but that happens all the time. There's a lot of people that, they get this chip on their shoulder, and it's like, hey man, this in reality, this does not work unless it's you and one other person, right? That other person is making it work for you. So if if you want to go out there and put matters in your own hands, it's not gonna come out very well.
Sure.
So
do you think that that's become more prevalent with the social media age? I know Jack makes a lot of jokes about it with like, indie guys, oh, I got 1,000 likes, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And like it's satire, but also like I feel like there's some truth to that as well.
I love Vaughn. Vaughn's awesome. We've had some hellacious matches together and stuff like that. So very good dude. And he kind of found his niche per se with social media, and that's part of it. Is just like, I think what he does, he finds a lot of the trolls online of their comments and stuff like that, or other wrestlers that are bitching about whatever.
So good though.
And he just takes it and he makes them into reality, and that's all he does. It's just him trolling on all the comments. Is what the videos are,
Well, I mean, for me, I'm saying more like, young guys, and they can get their, footage out there, so to speak, and they may, have a viral clip, and that inflates their ego so much more. Whereas, pre-social media, couldn't really get that footage out there. It was all based on what your, crowd reaction and working a crowd.
Right.
And now you have kind of a secondary crowd to kind of inflate the ego. And I feel like that it can be good, but it can also be a problem depending on how the person takes it.
Yeah, social. That's one of those things about social media is the world is a lot smaller now, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of easier in a sense to get eyes on you, and also harder in a way too because there's so much out there.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess some people can take it like that as far as getting a viral moment or whatnot. But the thing is, you get a viral moment and you're over at the time. That'll last. I mean, if you write it and you don't have the ability to back it up, it's going to last a year and a half. And then after that,
dude, I've seen so many flashes in the pan. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So, and if that, like, it's probably sooner than that if they don't know what they're doing inside that ring. So that's another part of it as well, too. Is like you can have this ego and everything, but if you can't back it up and work with who you're in the ring with and do business, you're not going to last very long as well. Because the wrestling world, I mean, the wrestling world is big, but it's also really, really small too. Everybody kind of knows everybody type thing.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that,
Well, and it's crazy too, because we, try to think of ourselves as, somewhat historians. We're not, crazy nerds about it, but we watch a lot of old matches and stuff. But I always find it cool when I find out, like, oh, this is my first time seeing these people wrestle, and then I go look it up, and I'm like, oh, they wrestled 12 years ago, and some indie or whatever, and I can find that match on YouTube. That's one of the cool things about social media is you can find that stuff now. It's not necessarily the tape trading days and all all that shit anymore. But yeah,
man, I gotta say, looking at some of your match history here, you've got a few matches with a few guys I'd love to ask your opinion on, especially new up and comers. I see you've put a few matches on with Dalton McKenzie. That guy seems like he is just built for this business, man. Can you give us an opinion on him at all? Or
I love Dalton's a beast. He's a strong ass dude and a very he's a very silly person.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's hilarious, and everything that comes out of his mouth is a joke. He takes nothing serious whatsoever, which is fine. But no, he listens well in the ring. He goes out there and tries to do. He's still young in it as well too. He goes out there and especially working with OVW. That's all I'm speaking on is like him being there weekly and learning how the ins and outs of TV and truly knowing how to conduct yourself.
That's got to be such a benefit. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, he's really. I see him growing in a way. Whereas when he first came in, as like, well, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, type thing. Which most guys are when they first come in. That's no knock. But now he's starting to understand. Okay, there's a long term in this, and it's weekly storytelling, and business needs to get done in order for us to grow in whatever we're trying to produce. So he's learning in that aspect and doing really well at it. But yeah, just inside the ring, man, he's just a freaking beast of a dude and a very loving guy. He's awesome.
I remember the first time I saw him, he had his merch, he was wearing it, and it just said big and cute. And I thought that was the funniest shit ever.
Yeah, he reminds me of what's that old movie back in the day? The football player. It wasn't Revenge of the Nerds. It was in one of those movies like that. He reminds me of one of those characters.
Yeah,
I can't remember. It'll come to me like an hour from now.
He does. He reminds me exactly like a character of an '80s movie. Just a big, big buff
big
dude
jock
with
boy. That secretly is really sweet. Yeah,
and that hair.
I feel like he looks like Theo Vaughn if Theo Vaughn cared about his body.
Yeah. Just got yoked.
Speaking of look like and sound like, Big Rig, anybody ever tell you sound and look like Seth Rogen?
Yes.
Thank you.
All the time. So,
yes.
This is an ongoing thing.
Do the laugh.
Thank you.
Do
I
it.
hate doing it.
Do it.
So I actually
That's awesome.
my first indie event I ever went to. I took my daughter. It was a Warrior Wrestling show up in Indianapolis, and Thunder Rosa was on the card, and that's the whole reason we went, because my daughter's obsessed with Thunder. Went to see her, and she actually ended up taking a picture with both of us after the show, which was really nice of her. But then she ended up posting that picture to her Instagram, and saying this is why I do this, for the little kid, whatever. Very sweet post. So of course I'm going through, everybody's commenting. The amount of fucking people that were like, when did you meet Seth Rogen? When did you meet Seth Rogen? And I'm just like, God damn. But then one guy saved it for me, and he was like, I didn't know Thunder knew Kevin Steen. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll take it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I crack up every time.
So man, one more young wrestler I want to get your opinion on. Now this one might be tough for you to give your opinion on.
Cal Hero.
Because you just faced him in an I Quit match, man. What can you give us insight on him?
He's I think he's 22 now. I think 20, 21, 22.
Who'd you say?
Cal Hero.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Cal. And I think we've had a feud for the past 3.5 years, pretty much almost as long as he's been here at OVW. Like, him and I have been kind of married together, so to speak, in a way. And a lot of that is to help him grow, and things of that nature. So hopefully I've helped him out in that way. But he's one of those guys, as far as learning and his ability, you only have to tell him once, and he has it. It clicks, right? Some people you got to tell 2 or 3 times, or they don't get it the first time through or whatever. You just tell them once or go through it once, and he makes one mistake in the ring and he corrects it the next week, So that's one of those things where he's always evolving. In the short time he's been there, he's grown so much. And it's kind of cool to see him kind of mature in a way in and out of the ring, which is kind of cool to see. So, and I've been kind of a big part of that as well too. Not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but it's just kind of cool to see him grow and that I was a part of that process. So
sure.
But we've had some hellacious matches. We've had the parking lot fight. We've had the I Quit match was the last one. We've had a cage match. We've had all kinds of matches. So it's crazy to add them all up in the past 3.5 years.
Right.
That's the thing, though, man. Some of the best matches in history are had by 2 people that love and respect each other, man.
Yeah.
So getting back to, obviously, OVW is kind of unique in it prepares people for TV. Anybody can go, work indie bookings and, learn how to work a crowd, but that's only half the battle. If you want to make it to the big time, TV is obviously a big thing, and I know OVW is a big proponent of that. How is that so different? And was that kind of when you got in there, was that kind of like oh shit, I don't know anything?
Yeah, I didn't. It's 2 totally different beasts, working on the indies and working on weekly TV. Like it's just totally two different perspectives, and you truly don't understand working TV unless you've lived it. And that's one thing, making a name for yourself on the indies and all that, and going out there and doing the same match over and over and doing every single move in the book, and so be it, whatever. I'm not knocking it, go out there and get yourself over, do whatever it takes, but at some point in time, if you make it on a bigger stage, whether that's AEW, TNA, NXT, WWE, whatever, you're going to have to learn how to work TV. And if you're just doing indies and you don't know how to work TV, they're going to put you through, especially WWE, they're going to put you through training first to make sure that you get those reps in, as far as learning how to work in their manner, as far as getting business across and stuff like that, versus just going out there and doing your own business, so to speak. So it's two totally different beasts, and it was a big eye opener for me, because just like everybody that comes in to do TV, including myself, did not understand it when I first got there, and I'm sure others didn't as well, because it's one of those things where it's all about me. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Why am I not working a match? Why am I only getting 2 minutes? And stuff like that. And that's a part of paying your dues as well, too, because you're learning the ropes of weekly TV, and they can't just, unless you're just a freak of nature or this person that they're wanting to push to the moon for some reason, they're not going to do that right off the bat. They're going to see what you can do. They're going to give you a few tools to work with. And then if you master those tools, they'll give you a few more difficult tools, which you get more time on TV, more promo segments, and stuff like that. And if you keep carrying those tools in your toolbox and not dropping them, they're going to give you more tools, or whatnot, or a ball to carry, whatever analogy you want to use. Right. So you kind of got to work your way up in that sense. And it also opens up your mind as far as, this isn't just about me. This is about the business, and we're all here working together for a common goal. And the common goal is to sell what we're doing, whatever segment that we have, to our audience, to get them to buy in to whatever story we're trying to tell. So that way we can hopefully sell tickets and draw money and give our fan base a good time and keep them coming back for the weeks following.
Yeah. And is that something, something I've kind of noticed, like, say I go to an indie show versus going to a show that's a, weekly TV, say it's a, tag team match, is learning how to do TV kind of different, where you're like, at an indie show that's not on TV, you can kind of hide off to the side, say you get thrown out of the ring, you don't really have to sell as much or whatever. But whereas weekly TV, you're like, man, a camera could be on me at any time. I need to be on all the time. Yeah. Is that something that's real big and kind of trying to ingrain into people? Like, you all take a break.
Yeah, you can't. You always be selling from the time you walk out of that curtain to the time you exit back through that curtain. Sure. You always got to be selling whatever that story is. There's no off moments when, even during commercial breaks and stuff like that. Like, you still have to be working, because cameras are still on you. Audience is still watching you as well, too. That's there in attendance. And like you said, if someone's down on the floor, you don't know if they're going to take that camera and pan it across and see that person that crashed and burned or whatever happened, and get their reaction as far as selling the pain and whatever's going on, so, or even if it's just a manager or somebody at the apron or on the floor, right? Sometimes that camera's going to cut over to whoever's on the floor, and they got to be selling their story as well, too. Like, whatever's happening in the ring, they're selling on the floor what's happening in the ring, right? So you always have to be selling what you're doing. But yeah, that's one of those things that it takes a while to learn, versus just, like you said, at indie show and do a crash and burn, and you're just laying on the floor and just waiting for your cue to do the next thing.
Right. Yeah.
So, and another thing about working TV too, versus independent shows or just indies in general, is that working house shows or independent shows pretty much is like you're told a time that you're supposed to do, but sometimes you go shorter, you go longer. Very seldom is that time hit. Whereas in TV, if they tell you have 2 segments, a 2-segment match, and the first segment is 5 minutes and the second segment is 6 minutes, then you have 5 minutes till commercial break for that first segment to get to your break spot. Not only that, you have to know how to work within those 2 minutes when they count you back in to come in for that final 7 minutes for your second segment, and then also end your match on time after that second segment. Because there is other business and stories and stuff that the company is trying to sell as well too, not just you for those segments that you're in. We're telling other stories, commentary, video package, and stuff like that. And if you eat that time away, it's going to take it away from other people, and they are not going to be very happy with you.
Pacing is basically what you're saying there. And you can kind of tell, at least I know I've noticed, when I go to indie shows, I can kind of tell people that have worked TV compared to people that haven't, because you'll see those little subtle differences. You'll see somebody selling throughout the whole match compared to somebody who's not, and that I understand that just comes from experience. I'm not knocking anybody, whatever. And you notice it in pacing of matches too. I've seen guys that, he might be rushing a little bit, or he's going way too slow, and then there's other ones that just mesh perfectly, and they're like, we're in, we're out, we're good to go.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's all experience. That's all it is. So,
and when you explain it like that, man, that is so much to think about on top of the ring of just putting on the the match itself. Like, having all that in your head and having to take that into consideration is just
because you're constantly getting time cues. You got to be selling yourself. You got to be getting your business across. You got to be getting your opponent over. You got to be getting the crowd engaged and listen to the referee giving you time cues, hitting those times, and knowing too if you're doing too much or your time gets cut, because that happens a lot as well too, knowing what you need to cut out in order to still get the business across. So there's a lot of things that just
communicate with who you're in a match with without just openly having a conversation in the middle of the ring. So I'm sure that's not easy.
There's so many factors to think about and to juggle out there. Yeah.
With you teaching the intermediate class, is that something you harp on a lot? Is that something they learn more in the advanced?
That's more so in the advanced class as far as times and stuff like that. The intermediate class is basically learning basic heel and babyface ring psychology, as far as selling and working and stories of matches and stuff like that, and learning basic maneuvers and footwork and timing. So that's more of the intermediate class. And then once they get into the advanced class, which that's with Doug Basham, he gets more involved with hitting times and stuff like that, and knowing when to take it home. And he'll throw you curveballs too. Like he might get someone, hey, you two go get in the ring and call it, this person's going over, and you're calling a 7-minute match on the fly. And then all of a sudden he might say, your match just got cut down 3 minutes. So you got 4 minutes and you're 2 minutes into the match, so he'll give you those curveballs because that's going to happen on TV. So it's good that he does that.
So you got to find a way to close that story up and make it make sense in a minute, essentially.
I've also seen him give curveballs too, to where like he'll tell someone to, hey, about 2 minutes in the match, I want you to pretend to get hurt, and then work around that. So that's kind of cool to see as well too, because it gets guys thinking and protecting each other and stuff like that. Because the end result is you don't want to seriously go out there and
be able to improv,
somebody, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say is for your intermediate tutelage? What do you say is your best lesson or your best attribute that you pass on to your students?
I think the biggest thing with me with intermediate class is after you learn the moves and you're learning the basic psychology and stuff like that, the thing with me, by the time you get out of my class, I want you to be comfortable with communicating out there and calling a match and working on the fly. You can still have your spots, so to speak, or whatever, but I want guys to be able to go out there and tell a story without calling it all at the ringside. I want you to be able to go out there and think in the ring while you're working. And that's a big thing with my classes. The biggest takeaway for me is being able to get in the ring and think outside the box while you're in there trying to tell that story. And that's one of those things that's a lost art, because you can tell the people out there that go out there and talk and change things up on a dime. And you can also tell the people that call every single step that they take, and they don't change any dynamic in their match, whether the crowd is loving it or shitting on it. Right. You know, so that's one of those things that's kind of a lost art. And we still preach that there at OVW, because you got to be able to work on the fly sometimes, or work around things and be able to talk in that manner.
When you see someone like Pillman Jr. get the opportunity that he's got right now, is it easy for you to watch it and still be a fan, or are you still find yourself trying to maybe find spots to be like, hey man, maybe you should work on this, or you know, are you still able to be a fan after you've put some training into some of these guys, or is it rough for you to balance?
Oh, you mean seeing them go to a bigger stage or whatever?
Yeah, is it do you find yourself still wanting to try to train, or do you just let the birds leave the nest? You know?
I mean, sometimes I have to catch myself. I'm like, oh, you did that wrong, or you did that, you know. And I was like, who am I to say that someone did something wrong, you know, or whatnot? That's just my opinion and how I was taught and what I believe in. But I try to keep myself from doing that, because if you start doing that, you start becoming like an old bitter person, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person. I still want to enjoy wrestling. Yeah. So anytime I catch myself doing that, I try to cut myself off and just kind of like, okay, I'm here to enjoy the show, you know? So
speaking of enjoying the show, man, I got a photo here. I was trying to find the original graphic for this, but it's been a little while since that was online, so I couldn't find the original graphic, but I found this one. I just want to know what this photo right here makes you think of.
Oh God. Oh man, that was a good time. That was a good time.
For those of you who don't know, that was your first World Heavyweight Championship win in OVW.
Yeah, and that was Biss's last match until before he went to WWE as an agent.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, funny story about that is I think he did a show like a week or two before that, and he got a concussion.
Oh no!
I think it was he did the Monsters Ball match or whatever, where
this goes hard.
Someone did gave him the power bomb with the table on the floor, but I guess he kind of missed the table a little bit and his head hit the floor. I think that's what happened. But anyways, he got a concussion from it. So when he still had to do the match, because he had to, do business on his way out, so to speak, with OVW, and he could not take a bump from his doctor, from concussion protocol. So I think we did a 17 minute match. Wow. And he took 0 bumps, and we went out there and the crowd ate up every single second that we were out there, which was awesome.
That is tremendous.
I got to go back and watch it now. Doing that.
Yeah.
See, and that's a, like you were saying, curveball. Okay. This guy can't take bumps.
Holy shit.
Figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. That was a huge curveball, and I didn't know that until he showed up and let Al know, and then we talked about it, and we were like, all right, let's do this.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Funny thing is, though, that same night, too, I actually had to work Adam Revolver right before that match as a #1 contender for the title. So we worked a 2-segment match, and then immediately he came out and jumped me and said the match starts right then and there. So I did another 4-segment match back to back, pretty much the whole TV episode for that.
Wow. Oh man,
workhorse, man.
And then I gotta say, just for a stat, because we are sponsors of Revolver, and I want to throw out a stat that is interesting to that title run. Your very first title defense of that championship was against Sami Callihan at an Impact taping. Yeah, he beat Sami Callihan, retained his championship.
Yeah, there's another good story with that too.
Suck it, Sammy.
That was one of my most fun storylines that I've ever done, because that was the first time of me having the heavyweight title, and then we also kind of brought Impact and OVW had a working relationship, and we did like the one night only, so that was kind of cool in that sense. And that was the largest crowd when we did that match. That was the largest crowd that OVW's ever had there at the Davis Arena, which is, I think, right at 500, a little over 500 or something like that. Whatever that building can hold, I forget what it is.
I just gotta say, that's a cool fucking venue. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
we ever went down there, that's the first time I've ever been there. What a venue that is. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's an awesome place. And what's nice about it is there's not a bad seat in the house.
No.
And you
can be all the way back row, and it's like it's almost preferable because you just get to see.
Yeah, you get to see it all. You get to see it all. Yeah, but so the Sammy story. So this is kind of crazy. This is 2019, I believe, and we worked this program, and this is the big blow-off match or whatever. And he stole the title from me, and he's been running with it for a couple of weeks. And in the middle of the show, I think Al and Scott Demore have some type of, promo segment or whatever, calls out me and Sammy. And then we have a pull apart segment in the middle of the show or early on in the show. And I do a double leg takedown on Sammy. And somehow my hand gets caught like behind his leg or whatever. And all my weight comes down onto my tricep or my elbow. And I tore my tricep off the bone. I heard a pop, and then me and Sammy are rolling. I go, I think I just tore my arm, my tricep. And anyways, we go to the back, and the trainer or whatever puts ice pack on it, and it just felt like someone was just like stabbing me, and I was like, fuck.
Oh no.
But I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell Al. I didn't tell Scott. I didn't tell Sammy. I didn't tell anybody that I was legit tore it, because I didn't want to, let them worry about it. I wanted to go out there and do business or whatnot. And we go out there and do a 34-minute match, and I have a torn tricep.
34 minutes with a torn tricep.
Yeah, and we talk and what the funny thing is too. What's even like what I like better than that is like him and I. We've never worked each other before, and all we called in that match was the finish. And we go out there and do a 34-minute match, and we call nothing but the finish, and we just go out there and work. And it's our first time of even working together and just our chemistry together out there was just amazing.
That's got to feel so good, man. Just to be able to just have that almost telepathy and just knowing how to work together without really knowing how to work together. That's got to be awesome. I'll be sure to give Sammy a bunch of shit next time. We are best friends after all, and you can tell him I said that. You can say you met his best friend, Big Rig, and I'm sure he will have a glowing review of me. See, look, riding bikes together, playing games. We're best friends.
It looks like it.
Yeah, I mean, we are. I don't know. I think, he sent us this. This was so. I don't know if you know our guy down here. His gimmick. 2-time world record holder. He is a world record holder for going the most consecutive days wearing a pro wrestling T-shirt. Not the same one, but different ones every day. You know how many times I have to explain that to people? I've said your gimmick to so many people, and they're like, "Ew." And I'm like, it's not the same one.
Who peels it off him every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You need to clarify that one up.
So he is over 1,000 days, and on the 1,000 days, we got a bunch of people to send him videos, and one of them was Mr. Sammy Callahan, and this video just cracks me up.
It's the Death Machine Sammy Callahan saying congratulations to Cephas from the Down World Order podcast of 1,000 days. 1,000 days. 1,000 days. Wrestling T-shirts. P.S. Big Rig, you can go fuck yourself.
Oh,
We're best friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they have a beautiful.
We do. We have a beautiful relationship. But you know what? We do. We kind of talked before how we don't really have a script for this whole thing, but we do have one question that we ask everybody. And our man, Mr. Magnificent, our reigning patriarch here, is the one to usually ask it.
yes. Well, being a fellow dad, Tony, I all about budgeting and everything. So, you know how important this question is to us dads. So we have to gauge our guests, on a little scale. So, what do you keep your thermostat set to?
That is a dad question, most certainly. Everyone laughed at this. I always keep it at 69.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's where I keep it at.
Yes.
Perfect answer.
Yes.
There are 3 technically 4 acceptable answers: 68, 69, and 70, or whatever she says.
No. 71, 72. That's screw that. 69 is ideal.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
It is absolutely perfect.
I knew you were gonna nail it. I had no doubt.
And I don't get too much fuss about that either, so which is nice.
Well, that is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Tony, where can people find you at online, man? If they hear this, they want to follow you on the internet and whatnot.
Sure. Just I'm on Instagram and Twitter, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's at Tony B as in boy Gunn, Gunn.
Yeah,
Bang,
boy.
Gunnn. It just makes me want to sing Beer Run. I grew up listening to Bob and Tom with my dad in the car. So
I listen to Bob and Tom every morning. Every morning on the way to work, I listen to Bob and Tom.
It's so good.
Shout out
I don't know
Jay
if
Roman.
I should have been listening to Bob and Tom when I was, 7, but that's what we listened to when he drove me to school.
You got a great sense of humor.
Always love hearing Donnie Baker.
Donnie Baker.
State law.
State law. Swear to God it is.
Swear to God.
Rest in peace, man. That guy left us way too early for sure.
Yeah, that was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, man.
Trying to sell this boat.
Shout out to our buddy Jay Roman, man. He has a show called The Rose Show, and he's a big giant fan of Bob and Tom, and he just had Christy Lee on his show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was an excellent interview, dude. And you could just tell the whole time. It'd be like if we had Stone Cold on here. I'd be, Mr. Stone Cold, yes, sir. And that's how he was with Christy. But it was definitely good to watch.
Geeking out a little bit. Yeah.
Dude, he got a feature on the Bob and Tom show, man.
He got to be on. Yeah,
that's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, he won Pigskin Dickums or whatever a couple weeks ago, and was talking shit to Tom on air, and it was fantastic to hear him hitting his shit.
Well, hey, I got a question for you guys.
Yes.
Sure.
So, the Chiefs or the Seahawks?
I'm gonna probably clean my garage.
The Eagles, man.
I gotta clean.
I'm at the Eagles. I don't know why I said the Seahawks.
Yeah, I gotta rearrange my sock drawer.
Anybody but the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so over it. It's a circus, man.
These are like
I know
Yankees
everybody's
of the
like,
90s.
oh, it's just like the Patriots. Everybody's getting fatigue, and nobody wants to recognize greatness. Man, look at the stats.
No.
It's bad.
Yeah. It's really bad, and I'm not one to be, it's rigged. I'm not. But I'll tell you this much: like fucking what's his name said, it's massaged. It may not be rigged, but it's fucking massaged.
Bill Burr on the Rich Eisen show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Eagles, but yeah, I think it's going to be KC.
So, what growing up in Arkansas? What was the team down there?
Razorbacks, baby.
Yeah, it's all.
Well, I mean, NFL wise,
yeah.
Was it like a lot of Cowboys fans? A lot of.
Yeah, I would say there's more Cowboy fans in Arkansas, or the Titans.
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Tennessee. But as far as baseball, it was the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah,
it's right there. North of.
I bet that was great. Pujols, Yadier Molina.
Mm-hmm.
They kicked the Reds' ass.
God, I hated them. I hated them so much.
Yeah.
They just announced.
I wanted to punch Molina in the face every fucking year. That smug son of a bitch.
I still don't hate him as much as I hate the Cubs.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that. The Cubs can suck an egg.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, were you at Squared Circle Expo last year?
Yeah. I actually worked it. I worked Vaughn.
That's right, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be there this year?
I think so. I think I'm going to be there.
Well, we had a table there last year. We'll be there this year, so we'll
cool.
We'll link up then too.
Dude,
I know last year OVW had a table there. I don't know if we're going to do it this year or not.
Yeah, I went and saw because Brittany was running around working. I went and talked to her now.
Okay.
And everybody. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I plan on being there. So
we'll buy you a whiskey, man.
Oh hell yeah!
We'll buy you a whiskey. We'll have a drink.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I stopped by the table. I may or may not have contraband.
We may or may not have.
I think everybody does there.
exclusive dad merch that's not for sale.
Yeah.
Not for resale. Yeah, our table was actually right next to Jack last year, so that was fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
fun.
so sweet, man.
Yeah, we love that dude.
Time.
Yeah, he's a good dude. We've had some banger matches too. A lot of fun. I think our best match we had a ladder match. Man, it was awesome. So much fun. But anyways,
I'll tell you what,
Sounds
man.
painful.
Out of all your tag partners and opponents in the history, I think one I'm really interested in talking to is old Jesse Goddard's, man. We're gonna have to I'm gonna have to break down the walls and get his ass on here as well.
he's a hard person to get a hold of.
Yeah, trust me, I've already tried to knock on that door a few times.
Yeah.
He was pseudo famous before he was a wrestler, so I watched him on Big Brother. Like, yeah, the dude could be a wrestler.
Have you seen Villains yet?
Yeah, I heard he's on that. I haven't watched it yet.
I've watched a couple episodes. He does really good.
Yeah, he fits the role, man. There's so much room for that, man. Like all those MTV Challenge people, man. They're back and they do. They have 2 or 3 different spinoffs and crap like that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's money to be made there. Whatever.
Yeah, Goddard's a good dude. He's a good dude. Him and I tagged for a while, and we had some fun chemistry. It was a pretty good dynamic because I'm the country guy and he's like the city boy. Yeah. So we had a fun little dynamic. He's a good dude.
Well, hell yeah, man. You got anything else you want to plug or talk about before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Just you got my socials, so anybody watching, check that out. If you ever want to check out Ohio Valley Wrestling, it's live every Thursday on YouTube. Actually, at
free
7:00 Eastern for free.
Yeah,
so,
can't beat that,
true, man. Yeah, you really can't beat that.
And come to any show that I'm at and buy my merch.
That's right.
I say it's a guaranteed good time, man. Great energy there at the Davis Arena.
Yeah.
We witnessed it firsthand, so it is that. Yeah, it's that remarkable indie energy still at a weekly television produced show. It's it's a great hybrid of the two.
Most definitely.
Well, yeah, man. We'll definitely see you on Friday. Here in a few days up in Indianapolis, so that'll be a good time. As always,
all you guys gonna be there? All you guys?
Yeah, all 3 of us. Yep,
okay,
we'll be there.
Cool.
Let's get a picture.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't been to that venue yet or anything, so I always love going to new venues for indie shows.
Yeah, that last one that we were at, that was his first time doing that one, right?
Richmond.
Yeah, it's like
is it Richmond? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Richmond, Indiana. So apparently the Retro Jake's Video Games, which is in Richmond,
they were the main sponsor.
They were the main sponsor to get a show in Richmond, which that had a hell of a turnout, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a nice crowd. Yeah,
it was really good.
Hell yeah! Hopefully this one's just as good, if not better.
It'll be Royal Rumble weekend, so
yeah.
Do what?
Friday being Royal Rumble weekend is going to make it. Yeah, I imagine it'll be a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, it's SmackDown Friday.
Yeah,
true that, brother. Well, as always, we've been the DWO Podcast. I'm Big Rig Eric Maffey. He is Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He is the wrestling T-shirt guy, Bo Cephas, and he is the one and only Shotgun Tony Gunn. As always, you can check us out on all the socials at DW_podcast, Facebook at the DWO Podcast, TikTok at DW_pod. Get that dad merch at Pro Wrestling Tees, TeePublic, or message us directly. We'll ship it to you. Like, subscribe, listen, follow, all that good stuff. And until next time, top dads.